Hey, folks, Dave here. Hope you're having a good weekend here. We are officially Saturday night here in the Northeast. And a couple things coming to mind tonight, and I wanted to jump on and talk about them. I want to put my logo up here. I took my logo down the other day. Let me put that back up. There we go. So we can get the official logo of the podcast up here. And the Fenner comes by. Hi, Fenner. He's been having some fun. Hopefully, the shifts have been better for you. I know you've been working late, so I'm kind of hoping that things are getting a little bit better for you. What am I going to do for a color here? Do we want to do a? Yeah, we're going to go to a blue here. That way, there the blue will contrast the red a little bit. There we go. And yeah, I saw you Stone Cold Hockey, Sabres and Bruins. That's fantastic. John comes by as well, and John, I like the new logo here. We're having some fun with the AI, aren't we? The just having some fun putting together some thumbnails with the AI. I suppose I'll get burned out on that after a while, but it is kind of fun doing that. It just saves you a ton of time from instead of trying to come up with a catchy little thumbnail, you just type something out and what does the computer say? Oh, that's fine. Anyway, before I get going here, I want to shout out to a couple people in the community. I'm not going to call them out by name, but as you know, I like to keep in touch with people here in the community, and I've reached out to a bunch of people, and a couple of people going through some hard times. One was having some health issues and was in the hospital, and another one just said he was going through a rough patch of some personal stuff, and he didn't get into it any further than that. So I want to just shout out to those guys and just say I'm thinking about you guys, and every now and then I try to reach out to people I haven't talked to in a long time, and I consider a long time a month. If I don't see people commenting or going live or posting on Facebook at Delphi, and I don't hear from them for about a month, I like to check in with some people and just, hey, what's going on here? Because like I say, we're pretty tight knit community here, a lot of us, and so I like to see what's going on. And Jim comes over as well. Thanks, Jim, for coming by. Thanks for that nice words, Jim. By the way, too, that meant a lot to me. Um, so I did want to shout out to a couple people or a few people that were having some going through some bad times right now, and I know I go through bad times too. So I just want to let you know that I appreciate you guys getting back to me and just and let me know what's going on. So hopefully things will get better for you guys, and we'll see you back here either on YouTube, broadcasting, commenting, or whatever it is you do. So anyway, yeah, John had a good video this morning. I'm enjoying some of the commentary that we have here and some of the things they put out there. And just before I get going here with my video game rant, it's not really a rant, but I want to talk about video games and things. The payoff pitch, as far as the base running goes, I figured out what I wanted to do until I did it, and then I wanted to do something different because there's 4 or 5 different ways of running bases in payoff pitch. And this is a me problem. This is not a game problem. It's just a me problem. I can't decide which one I want to use. I thought about fast action cards, but then I'm like, well, that doesn't take into effect the pitch. So then I was using the optional basic, which is if it's from the tough, there's no extra bases. But if it's from the wheelhouse, it is. But then with 2 outs, it's automatic. But on the advanced one, only sixes and sevens get automatic bases on 2 outs. So I like the fact that I'm bringing in the runner's speed because, you get someone like me rounding third base, and then you got Ricky Henderson. We're very different runners. So I keep bouncing around, and it's just frustrating me that as soon as I settle on a way to do it, I want to change my way of doing it. Okay, just put it that way. Anyway, so that's my payoff pitch thing. That's why I just wrestle with that game, and I like it, but I wrestle with it, and then I go and I'm okay with it for a while. Then I wrestle with it again. It's just frustrating because I do like the game. But anyway, so that's my payoff pitch talk. All right, so I want to get into the topic at hand was video games. What I don't miss, and what kind of prompted this tonight? Because as I was sitting there having some dinner and just watching TV, and in my YouTube, again, I'm on YouTube all the time. I think I was watching golf on TV, and I was like, okay, I'm tired of the golf, and there's no hockey or football on right now, so I'm gonna put on YouTube. And in my feed, it come up, and it was video game raging. And it was people who stream their games, so they're in the corner, their little box or a little box here in the corner, and they're playing the video games, and they get killed, and they're like slamming stuff and breaking the monitor, and sometimes it's just them in the box, and sometimes they have a second camera over the top. And I know some of it's staged. Don't get me wrong; it's the internet. A lot of it's fake, but there's a lot of that's real, and you can tell the real stuff because I was there, and that's the first thing on my list is Gary comes by. Hi, Gary. And Fenner says, "You might have sold me a payoff pitch, but he's still enjoying Appa." They're both great. There's so many good baseball games. I need to do a show on like baseball games because there's so many good ones. There really is. I think we already did a show on baseball games. Um, but anyway, it's the rage. The rage of video games is real, and if you can believe it, that's part of the fun. But it's also part of the frustration. And I've thrown my controller across the room. Luckily, I've not broken anything like a TV or a console. I've just been smashed a controller. And although I did one time, I busted some headsets. A friend of mine had just died, so I was not in a good mood. And I was playing a game and I got aggravated. I took the headset and I smashed. I smashed them. So the first thing I don't miss about video games is the rage. Because I'm a competitive guy, and when I played, I was competitive, and I was terrible, and very rarely did I ever win at anything. Or I was always getting killed if I'm playing the shooter games, or if I played the sports games, I would always lose. And so I was watching those rage videos tonight. It's like I want to go and when I started this whole journey, was it 5, 6, 7 years ago, coming off video games and going to mostly tabletop sports games, but also there's some on video on. The computer. I don't know if I'd call them video games. When I think video games, I'm thinking controllers and moving guys around. I'm not thinking video games clicking with your mouse and typing in commands on a keyboard for people running bases, or using a helper, Action PC. I guess Action PC is considered a video game, but the connotation is video game is, Madden, Call of Duty, and that's kind of what video games are. So let's just get that distinction going here that, when I'm saying video games, that's kind of what I'm referring to. Things that you put into your PlayStation or your Xbox. And I mean, your computers too. Obviously, you play, racing games and, whatever on the computer here. But video games, I don't consider the sports sims that we do video games. Anything you can play and walk away from for hours at a time is not really in my category of video game. Okay, like we play Action PC or Strat, any of those games here on the computer that I play, I can sit here forever and figure out who's gonna bat, or who's gonna take the shot, or whatever I'm gonna do. So it doesn't have that intensity of holding the controller, and watching on the TV or whatever. So again, there's my distinction about video games. Okay, so if you you might consider Action PC and Strat PC games, and the mogul games, and I'm trying to think whatever else I play, the inside sports games, ASG Golf, Digital Diamond. Recently I started playing Hoops PC, all the replay games. So I suppose you could consider those video games, but I don't. I consider those sports sims and kind of part of the tabletop community. So when it goes to the video games, the rage is real. And that, the wife would yell at me a lot sometimes too, because I'd be losing my mind. And she'd be like, "What are you doing?" And like, "You're going to break that." It's like, "I don't care." It's like, and I saw people doing that tonight. It's like, yeah, that was me, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so, yeah, so rage is one of the things I just don't miss about video games. And I don't get a lot of rage when I play my Sims here. I mean, occasionally when, something happens over and over and, your team loses, or you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it," then we have some frustrations. I mean, we all do, but it's not nearly at the level of video games that I was doing. That's for sure. So that's the first thing that I can't stand is I don't miss is the rage. Gary stops by. Hi, Gary. Yeah, pleasant evening. Yep, hopefully you do. And John says, video games. Remember being frustrated and hitting the reboot button all the time? Yeah. Yep. My first serious video game reboot thing I did. I think I told the story. In 1986, I played this game called Ultima 3. Okay, I think it was called Ultima 3 Exodus. And it was a game on the Commodore 64, and you just kind of move the guy around, you get into battles and the whole bit. And if you died, that was it. It was permadeath. And I played 3 months and I died, and I had to start all over again. And again, this is 86. So this is, right when the Nintendo come out. There was none of these Xboxes or anything yet. And so I started all over. And then there was one point where I got through a battle and I was so beat up, I went right into another battle. I was going to die. So I shut the thing off. And I said, hopefully it didn't save. And when I turned it back on, it didn't save. So I was able to continue the game. I had to do that several times. That was the cheat in that game, is you needed time to heal. You needed your wizard to heal everybody, or whatever it was. And, if you go from one battle to another, you just couldn't win it. And do it, the game would end. So many times I would just shut off the Commodore 64, and I did that one time in, it wasn't Commodore 64. Well, there was a hockey game I did that with Commodore 64 too. I would have to shut it off or it saved. But on one of my first computers I was playing a hockey game, and I played the whole season. I got to the Stanley Cup Finals, and the computer, it was definitely a scripted event. The computer just was doing all this crazy stuff. And I was going to lose the game, and I shut it off. I just shut the computer off. You're not supposed to do that, but I did. And I was like, nope, we're going to play this game again. I'm not going to play the entire season and lose it like that. And even the Sega Genesis, now that I think about it, I had my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got them to the Super Bowl playing Madden 94, something like that, 93, 94. And I got into the Super Bowl, and I'm winning. And there's less than a minute left, and you couldn't take the knee back then, so I had to run. And so I'm just trying to run out the clock, and I hand it off to my back. Fumble. Houston picks it up, runs it all the way down for a touchdown. Click, shut it off before it could save. I'm like, nope, ain't gonna end the game like that. I'm not gonna end the season. I guess it could happen, but it just felt too scripted. It just, what are the chances I'm gonna have a Pasachik moment here? And I did, and I was like, nope. So I've had my rage, and I've had to shut off computers and games plenty of times to save it. And I don't necessarily have to do that when I do this stuff here. Let me get back to the chat room here. Fenner says, my thing about video games is the time sink and the non-productive behavior it can encourage with people. Well, I think there's part of that is just, sitting in your basement or your bedroom and playing games and not coming out. And I have some relatives that have kids that were doing that. And it's like, I can't get him out of his room. He just wants to sit and play the games all the time. And, there's the, you chat like this. You have your headset on, you chat with people you're playing, and whether it's friends or strangers or whatever, and that's just what you do. And she's like, I was throwing a controller. It's like, I know I did all that. And I don't miss it. I don't miss getting that angry. Okay, because once in a while, like I said, I'll play it at the game. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. How come the Bruins gave up a 4-goal lead? Like, they can't make, and you get frustrated like that sometimes, but not nearly at the level. I think there's been one time I whipped the die around here. I remember this one game. I don't even know what if it was football, baseball, basketball, or hockey, and I rolled. I was like, it was one time, and I wasn't online. I would think I was just playing myself, and I got mad. The only time I get mad here is when I can't figure something out, and then I get the frustration here. But I don't have that rage that I had in video games. But as far as getting back to the behavior, I mean, well, we can kind of be a little antisocial too here. I spend a lot of time downstairs. We'll have dinner, we'll do our thing, and then the wife goes off and does her thing, and I come down here, and so I guess I'm kind of being antisocial down here myself to a certain degree, I guess. But I just think that because I can leave at any time, unless I'm streaming, obviously. But if I'm just playing a game down here, no matter what game it is, she's like, hey, you want to go for an ice cream or something? I could stop in the middle. Whereas if I'm playing video games, I can't right now. I'm in the middle of a battle, and that battle could take an hour. So I think that knowing that at any time I can just zip upstairs, we can go do something or whatever it is. I'm not stuck here like you are in a video game. That you can just walk away from that. So I think that's a little bit different. Gary, what's Gary say here? I think there are similarities between how some video and some sports games can frustrate you, but feel video games frustrate more. I would agree with that. I think video games get very, very frustrating. The other thing that I walked away from was the dexterity. Do I have my controller here? I do not. I was going to give you a little demonstration, but my controller's over there. Is I couldn't do this anymore. And I remember I picked up the new Tomb Raider, and I like the Tomb Raider games, Lara Croft. And the first scene, you're going up the snow. Very first part of the game, the credits are rolling, and she's walking up the hill. The credits are rolling, and then it's like, okay, jump across, and with your axe, go into the ice, and then climb up the ice, right? 25 times I failed to jump and put my axe into the ice. And this was the first 2 minutes of the game. The first thing you had to do in the game. To a point where I had to go on YouTube and say, what am I doing wrong? It says jump and then hit this button to put the axe out. And I just fell to my death 20 to 25 times in a row. That's when I knew that I'm circling the drain. My video games days were just about over because I went to YouTube. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just not hitting the buttons at the correct time or in the correct order or whatever it was. But it wasn't like I was jumping at the wrong spot or I needed to do something else. It was a jump and catch. Now, eventually, I did get it. Eventually. But at that point there, I knew that I was kind of done with that. So my dexterity was gone. And I think I've talked about this on the show, is the last Madden game I bought, which was, I don't know if it was 2019 or 2020 or might have been 2021, but I don't think I was buying any video games, especially the Madden beyond that. Okay, let's go do the tutorial. Take the handoff, do a spin, dive into the end zone. You need to get 3 out of 5. I got 0 out of 5. Couldn't do it. I couldn't do any of the drills. I just couldn't press the buttons. What I thought I was. I thought I was hitting the B button at the right time. I guess I wasn't. So the dexterity was just gone. And especially the basketball. Okay, if you want to take a jump shot, press B, hold left trigger, and push the right joystick to the side to do a fadeaway jumper. You kidding, right? You kidding. That's how you take a shot? I'm just like, I just want to take a shot. I don't need to be doing. So for me, when the dexterity thing started to become a problem, I was done. In fact, my friend who's my age that I used to do the game hounds with, she told me, she goes, well, here's the problem. She goes, you're in your 50s. You're not the target demographic anymore. And the only thing I can picture is, you remember the Price is Right, when it was the range finder game, and you had like this long strip of like the price just went up and up and up and up, and you had this little red range thing, so it kind of looked like, well, here's your board, and the range went up and up and up and up and up and up, and you had to freeze it, and then if the arrow pointed in the range, you won the prize. Remember the range game is what it was called? I just kind of, I always envision that, like the range went up, and finally the range, this was me going up, and then I went right by the arrow. So the target demographic, is, what do they say, like 13 to, 50, and all of a sudden I went out of the range. I was out of range. And that's true. I'm not the target demographic. And so for me, that was it. The end was staring me in the face, and go. Carlo was talking here. I play a combination of cards and dice and PC sims like Digital Diamond. I'm also using Google Sheets to play cards and dice to cut down on printing costs. I no longer play video games. I used to. I actually, about a year ago, might even be a year and a half ago now. Oh no, it had to be less than a year, because when we had the flood here, that was last summer. Yeah, it was in the middle of the summer. So it's coming up on a year. And when I moved everything around and then put it all back in a new area, I did rehook up my Xbox and my PlayStation. And when I plugged them all in, and I got all the updates for them. So I did plug everything in. I don't know if I played anything or not a year ago, but I did update it all. And that's one of the other things I want to talk about, is updating the system. So I did do all that. But I did pick up, what did I buy? I think I picked up like Skyrim for the Xbox One like 4 years ago, and I was playing that a little bit. I still like Skyrim, and I didn't have it for the Xbox. It's not the Xbox One, so I was playing that upstairs for a little bit and never really got back to it. But I think it was only like $20 or something like that. I was like, yeah, I'll get it and play it upstairs. But anyway, so it's been about a year since I updated my systems and did anything. But as far as playing, I can't remember the last time I bought a modern game. Me and my buddy would go out every Sunday, and we'd hit the retro stores, and I'd get PS2 games and Sega Genesis games, and some I played, some I didn't, some I just traded in again because I didn't really do anything with it. I thought I'd kind of do a whole video channel on retro games. I just never got to it. This channel and this hobby just kind of took off for me, and this is where I wanted to put my energy. So I got rid of a lot of my old games that I had. Let's see here. And Gary says, I tried several Madden games but kept getting beat. But the championship manager was my frustration. I hear now that you can kind of play that and just pick the play and let the computer do it so you can kind of coach. But there's still some issues I have with, and I'll get to the sports games in 1 second. Phoenix Knight coming by. I'm enjoying watching your channel there and watch you play some of the sports games on your channel. Depending on the game, though, there can be some of that camaraderie you get with other people in the same situation in your video games. Yeah, oh yeah, I've had a lot of great times on the video games. Again, I'm not trying to say don't play video games, or video games are bad, or listen to me, I'm an old man, listen, I'm going to yell at the cloud, or whatever. I'm just talking about what I don't miss about them, and this all kind of sparked from a video I saw today about video game rages on YouTube, and I was like, I don't miss that. I don't miss that feeling. There's a whole bunch of other things I don't miss. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my Skyrim. I put probably a combined 400 hours into Skyrim because I played it on so many different systems. And I beat it on the 360, and then I beat it on the PlayStation 4, and I loved them both. And then I'm playing on the Xbox One now. So I put my time into that game, and I love that game. And I could sit down and play that tonight. So that's one game I like. The Witcher 3 was another one I played and really enjoyed. But the problem with that is it was such a big game. It's like, I know I'd love to go back and play it again, but I know I never would. It's just so much time into that game. And that game was I needed to have some coordination to fight in that game too. Even putting everything on easy, So The Witcher 3 was another one. And the other one I like to play is Ghost Recon. I think that's the one I played last summer, I think, when I hooked up all my systems. I put in Ghost Recon, and I just like flying in the helicopter, landing, scouting the thing, doing the mission with the computer, and then leaving, in the helicopter. I had fun with that. And that's just put it on easy mode and just play by yourself, So those 3 games, I could go back and play them anytime. But the dexterity thing, that was getting to me too. Let's see what else we have here. Fenner says, when I play my sports sims, I can put down the pencil at any moment. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that you can walk away from that. Now, again, there are some games, like I said, if I'm playing Skyrim, I can hit the pause button and walk away. That can happen. There's no reason why I can't do that. But it just, a lot of the games, especially if you're playing competitively, you just can't walk away because you're right in the middle of a match or something like that. So you can't. But here, yeah, I can walk away from anything. So as I'm not streaming, then I'm like, hey, let me just finish the stream and I'll be right up. But the video games are a little bit different. And Gary says he hasn't used his Xbox in years. Like I say, I played a little bit at some. I think it was the Ghost Recon last year when I hooked up everything over here after the flood, but not much with that. Fenner says his wife gave him a Switch a few years ago and haven't played it in a year. We actually have a PlayStation Vita, if you can believe it, upstairs in the bathroom. And there's a little puzzle games, a little block game that we play, while you're in the bathroom. And we've had that thing there for got to be 10 years now. And we just love that little thing. And we only play the one game. That's all we play is the one game. I don't even think it hooks up to the internet anymore, but we just play the one game. We used to have a Tetris game, and now we play that, and that's just fun. Play that every single day. Well, every time I go in there, It's nothing I carry around the house and do, but while you're sitting in there, it's like, instead of being on your phone, you play that. We have a fun time with that. And Cleveland baseball fan says, I remember the range game. Remember the range game? I remember the range game. And you think it's still played there? Yeah, I don't know if it is. I haven't watched The Price is Right in quite some time. Although I'll catch it at the gym once in a while. If I go to the gym, sometimes I'll have it on and I'll watch it. But the range game, that's kind of how I felt. The other thing is dizziness. This is the big thing. I used to love first-person shooters. And the difference between a first-person shooter and a third-person shooter, first person, you just see the screen and You just in the third person, you see the character. So, if this is my character, you're always going to see this in front of you, and it kind of grounds you. But when the first person, it's just kind of all over the place. And I have a hard time playing them now. And I used to love them. And when they introduced third person where you could see your character, I was like, I don't want to see the guy. I want to see what he's seeing. But as I got older, I got dizzy. And I remember one time I'm watching a friend play first person game, and I ran upstairs and I threw up. I got motion sickness real bad. He's like, "Are you throwing up?" I'm like, "Mm-hmm." So now I'm limited to what I can play for games, and forget about VR. I last about 2 seconds in VR, and I got to take it off. I can't do it. I can't do the VR. So again, you talk about passing you by and target demographic. Yeah, if they're going VR and they're going back to first person, I can't do it. I just can't do that. So the dizziness is another thing that got me. I had to walk away from that. Again, I don't get dizzy playing action PC. I don't get dizzy playing Strat PC or Football Mogul or the replay games. None of the stuff I do now makes me dizzy. The other stuff made me dizzy. Jim chimes in and says, with video games, what you see on happens, but with the Sims we play, the action happens in our minds. Yeah, okay, so you see the action, yeah, with the video games. It's more vivid on the screen, but that's just me. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is video games, they're awesome. I mean, they're 4K now, and the state is, especially the football, the soccer. I mean, soccer. You ever watch soccer on a video game? It is so lifelike, and even the hockey now has gotten to be real good. So you're exactly right. It's like, wow, you see everything. But you're right. When I'm playing my games here, it's all in your mind. And it's, when I'm playing the other day and I'm playing my, my 76 Buccaneers against whoever it was, I can picture there in my head their white uniforms and them just getting crushed, can't stop anybody, can't run, can't pass. And I can picture them walking off the field after another 3 and out in their white jerseys. So I'm creating that in my mind. So Jim's exactly right, is that you're creating, it's theater of the mind, is you're creating this in your mind. So, I used to listen to a lot of old time radio. I haven't listened to it in many years, but that was my go-to channel on Sirius XM. And I would love to put that on and just chill out with that. And it'd be, whether it was, I wasn't big on the Westerns, but sometimes I'd listen to a Western, and then sometimes it'd be space ones. And then, the detective ones were good, and the mysteries, and the Shadow was on there, and you would just listen to it, and they hear people walking, and then they're like, hey, so I went into a store, so now you're picturing what kind of store it is. And no matter how many people listen to that, everyone's got a different view of the store and a different view of what's going on, and you're creating it in your mind. And that's what's great about this. It's kind of like old time radio for sports. It really is. So that was a great point that Jim brought up. Fenner says, every time I see World of Warcraft have a new expansion, I get tempted, but I know how many hours I've sunk into it, and I'm like, nope. And Fenner also says, my thing too is I have more than one hobby. Video games interfere with that as well. Yep. Video games can take up a lot of time. But again, I've had my fun. When I played my adventure games or the shooter games by myself, it's great. Every Saturday night for about 5 years, I get out of work and I do my computer work from the league, and I'd be washing my jerseys, and we'd sit down about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and we'd hook up with a couple of friends, and the 4 of us would play the zombie shooter like all night. We'd play till 11 o'clock, and we just played match after match after match, and we would get excited when the new maps come out. We don't have to go buy the new maps, and we would just play that over and over and over, the same thing, and we'd chat while we were doing it, because our dogs would play together, so they were kind of like dog friends of ours, and we'd play probably 4 or 5 years in a row. Every Saturday night we'd play. And that was a fun thing to do. I look forward to getting done with work, and when I'm done everything, have dinner, and then play some zombies. And so I had my fun with it, but that was a long time ago. Charles comes by, always prefer a third person. I liked first for the long time, and then finally I just couldn't take it anymore. Mass Effect was fun. Fallout 4 was fun because I was up here in the Boston area. So Fallout 4 is fun. In fact, the map ended like a few miles from my house. So I remember going to the edge of the map, and I took some pictures of the edge of the map, and I sent it to my friends. I go, see this Fallout 4 game? You see how close it came to my house? So yeah, and Starfield I haven't played yet. So now I want to get to some of the sports games here. Oh, the other thing is the systems would die. You know, I probably had 3 or 4 Xbox 360s, and I had to keep replacing them. And I think I had to replace my PS4 as well. And my Xbox Ones, I think because I bought them so late, I didn't play enough of them for them to die on me. But the 360s kept dying on me, and that was a pain in the neck. In fact, one day I remember it was a day after Christmas, snowing out, and it was a Saturday night, and we were playing zombies, and my 360 just went out on me. I'm like, what's going on? So I think the video card went because I could hear everybody, but I couldn't play. So luckily there's a GameStop, and I called them up. It's like, you got a 360 Elite? And like, yeah. So I drove up, bought it in the snow, sliding all over the place. So I don't even know how they were open. The snow was that bad, but those kids got there, and I drove home, and I hooked it up, and I had to get all the updates, and then install the game, and then install the zombie pack and all the maps. And by the time I did all that, it was like over an hour or so to just set it all up. And that's the other thing. So the system died. Then all the updating you had to do, you couldn't just play. You couldn't just play. It was a nightmare to get it going. So I got back in, and they were nice enough to play a little bit more before they went to bed. But that time it's like, yeah, the night's over. You know what I mean? Something happened, and I got to leave, and it just kind of disrupted the flow of things. So, but yeah, so the updating of the system's pain in the neck. How many times did I sit down and play something? It's like, update. And sometimes the update would take a half hour. Man, you just want to play, and now I'm playing the update game. And we used to joke about that when I did the video game podcast. So what'd you play this week? I did the update game. Oh yeah, the update game. Yeah, I sat down to play, and I watched for a half hour to 45 minutes, just the little meter go back and forth, and the thing start up a few times, and I never got to play anything. So yeah, so that was kind of pain in the neck. So what Gridiron Masters says, the problem with the new sports games is that they don't look like sports of the 80s and 90s. That's why I'm making my own football game. Oh, nice. Well, I want to see that football game when it comes out. I absolutely do. For me, as I talked about, I couldn't play Madden. I couldn't do the tutorial. I couldn't play the basketball. Baseball, forget it. I couldn't hit anything. There were two games I could play. It was 2012, one of the baseball games in 2012. That's how long ago it was. And you were able to turn everything down to 0. So the pitch would come in, and it wouldn't be like, boom. It would come at you, and you could kind of see it tailing off or curling in so you wouldn't swing. Otherwise, I just swung at everything. And I did not enjoy playing baseball games because I couldn't. It come at you so fast. I'm not a baseball player. I can't. I'm just playing a video game. And I kept striking out. So I never played baseball games. But that one game, 2012 version of whatever it was, you could slide everything down to 0, and the pitch would just be slow enough so you could kind of see if you wanted to swing or not. But aside from that, I couldn't play baseball. And there was one basketball game that was really fun, very arcadey. And I don't know if it was NBA Live or if it was the 2K. I don't remember which one it was. But it was kind of neat that if you held one of the buttons, whoever had the ball, it would show their hot and their cold areas on the court. So if you had the ball and you were in the blue, ooh, that's cold. So let me see if I can get over to the red because I could probably hit it from. That was a fun game. And I played a lot of that. That was fun. But those are the only 2 games I could really play dexterity-wise, And again, I just kept failing all the tutorials in Madden. And then the big thing that happened was in a lot of these games, and including some of the sports games, was the pay to win. To me, that's what pushed me out the door with video games, was pay to win. A friend of mine and I would play the Star Wars game, and go, and you 2 sides just start fighting, and you die and you come back, you die and come back, and you kill, whatever it is, and the meter would go down on each side. So you had to kill like 100 or 200 of the other team. It was fun because you would come back really fast. So I mean, no matter how many times you die, you were right back in the fight. But you would buy these packs in the game, and you would unlock. Ooh, I unlocked a new gun, or I unlocked a new character, or I unlocked a faster load, because you had these traits. So you had your character and you could put the different traits. Do I want a fast reload? Do I want to, the gun to cool down quicker? Whatever the things were. And there were different levels of that. Well, you would go in against some people that were maxed out. And you could buy the packs. You could earn them or you could buy them. So if you dropped enough money, you bought enough packs, you were loaded. And one guy came in, Emperor Palpatine, and we were on Mos Eisley, okay, the sand planet there, with the wretched hive of scum and villainy. You know that when they went into the bar at Mos Eisley? And that's where the map took place. And there was this one guy, and he was Emperor Palpatine. And he just walked through, lightning coming out of his fingers, and he just walked through everybody and killed everybody. You couldn't kill him, and you couldn't survive a hit from him. And we used to joke about, now we still, like when we watch a football game, and it's like 49-0, we call him getting Palpatined, because that was the running joke, is that we played this one game, and Emperor Palpatine, this kid was just, I don't know how much money he spent, but he was just loaded to the gill. He just wiped out everybody. And at the end of the game, he looked at the leaderboard, and he'd have 500 kills, and the rest of us would have 2. And so we call it, getting Palpatine. And it just, that became not fun, is when you could pay to win. So that someone's got better equipment than you, so you can't compete. And that made it kind of frustrating too. And I get the whole, well, you got to pay your dues and work your way up. Well, how long is that going to take? If it's going to take me a few matches, that's fine. Give me a few matches, give me some better stuff, let me get caught up. But if it's going to take me months of playing this game that I'm just going to get my butt kicked over and over and over, it's not fun. It's just not fun. So when they started the ad to pay to win in the video games, and I don't know if they did that so much in the sports as they did in the shooter games, but I remember playing a Battlefield game, which I enjoyed, and I'm just starting out, and my gun was like a bolt action gun. I was just getting, destroyed. And then finally, I could pick up a gun. I picked up a gun on the ground. I was like, oh my gosh, this thing's got a scope. Look how fast it is. So it's like, as long as I don't die, I can hang on to this gun. And it just goes to show you the disparity between the entry-level guns and the guns that you had earned in the game. And it's like, so I ended up spending for $15. And this is, 10, 15 years ago, where $15 is probably 40 now. It's $15 I spent to upgrade my guy so I could compete in the game. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to spend $15 just more just to enjoy this game because I can't compete with anybody. So again, that was the other thing, that the pay to win drove me nuts. And then the final thing here, and I'll get back to the chat room here, is because I only played the hockey and the football. It's the ultimate team that came into play, and that just killed hockey for me, and it killed football for me, especially the hockey, because that's what I played mostly. And you would get the hockey, and just all they ever talked about was ultimate team, opening the packs, getting the pack. I didn't know how to play the damn thing. And I'm asking people, how do you play this? Oh, it's easy. What you do is this and that and the other. And it's like, it's easy for you. You're 25. Okay. I'm 55 at the time, or whatever I was. I said, I've never done this. What do I do? How do I do this? And then I tried it. Okay, and then the guys would play a few games and leave. Oh yeah, you don't get to keep the guys forever. Okay, then what's the sense of doing? Oh, you keep opening this and that, get new packs and get new players. So as soon as I build a team, I would lose them, and I couldn't figure it out. But that's where the games went. So the gameplay stayed the same, but they kept putting all their efforts into the packs that you would buy. You could earn them, but you could buy them. So the hockey game went from $60 to $80, and you'd get silver level packs and 20 packs to open, or the $100 would be the gold level, and you could get 100 packs of cards to open, or the platinum level for $120. So you spend $120 in this game, and then you're still buying the packs. It's like, oh my gosh, we talk about our hobby being expensive. The video games they were going up there. And then you're still spending money, either daily or weekly or monthly to upgrade your guys and play the game. And it's almost like a subscription-based thing where you buy the base game and then you're constantly buying more packs to play this ultimate team thing. And people loved it. Don't get me wrong. People loved it. I couldn't figure it out. So for me, that kind of, when they did that, they kind of ended it for me. And the last thing they did that killed it for me with video games that I don't miss is that they got away from a lot of the single player games and went multiplayer. And again, multiplayer, you go in, pay to win, ultimate team. So now you're playing other people. And if you want to compete with them, you got to buy stuff. You got to upgrade your stuff. Some stuff is cosmetic, but it makes you look kind of cool. You want to be looking like this guy, it's $5. You want to look like this guy, it's $10. And for me, there wasn't enough Skyrims. There wasn't enough single player games for me to enjoy because it was all going head to head. It was arena play. It was dropping in, fighting the other people. I couldn't do it. And it just wasn't fun for me. And it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to just kind of kick back and just enjoy the adventure. And there was a couple of games that come out that added Explorer mode, which you really had to try really hard to die. The idea was to experience the game and not have to worry about getting killed all the time. And a few games did that, and they got crap for it. It's like, oh well, why play the game? It's like, well, because I'm not that good at it. I'm getting old. Hands don't work, eyes don't work, and I still want to play your game, but I can't play your game if I'm just dying all the time, or if I can't make the jump and throw the axe pick into the ice. So those are some of the things I just don't miss about the video games. And I had my fun with them. I put in thousands of hours into video games, with the puzzle games, the shooter games, the sports. I had my time with them. But right now, I would rather just pop into Sega Genesis and play some, old Madden or old NHL, Blades of Steel on the Nintendo, things like that, NHL 94. That's what I'd rather play than the new stuff. Just it's simpler. I can play it. And the games are a lot quicker too. The Sega games are fast. They were like 5-minute games, and you could really just kind of take your time with it. So that's what I'd rather do. But those are some of the things I just don't miss about video games, and why I really enjoy what I'm doing here, whether it's the sports sims on the computer or the tabletop games, rolling dice, because it's just fun. And again, I don't got to tell you guys, it's fun learning a new game here in the tabletop. It is. You're reading the directions, trying to play it, making your mistakes, talking to your buds. Hey, how do you do this? Getting online, getting some help, trying to solve the puzzle. And then when you finally get it, you're like, oh man, this is great. I get it. And I can play this game. And you feel like you've accomplished something. I don't know about you. When I learn a new game and I think I'm playing it correctly, I feel like I've accomplished something. Whereas I never got that feeling with a video game. Yeah, I mean, if I played a puzzle game and I got through it, oh great, I solved the puzzle in the game or whatever. But learning a whole new game here in the table, that's what I really kind of found I enjoy. And so yeah, so Gridiron Master says, yep, it's they don't look like the sports of the 80s and 90s. They don't even play like them anymore. The football game, Madden played a little bit like football, but the hockey game, it didn't feel like hockey because no one played it like hockey. It's just get the puck and go to the net. There was no setting it up and passing it around. It just get the puck and go to the net. And it's no fault of the game. It's just that's just what people do. Whereas on the table here, loses the puck, pass to this guy, shot and a rebound. I mean, you're at the mercy of what the card's saying. It feels more like hockey. It feels more like football. And it's all theater of the mind, as they were saying here in the chat room. Let's see here. Gary says, I only found I relax more with a video golf game than any other video game. Yeah, well, the golf games I played were super easy. They were really easy to play. So, like the PGA Links or the Tiger Woods golf, you were down the middle every time. And Ron jokes about that. He's like, you're not playing the links anymore on the Xbox when you're playing any of the golf games here. So I find that the sports sim golf games, especially the Action PC golf, drives me nuts because I can't control it. I'm at the mercy of the dice, or I'm at the mercy of the game, or you think you aim it right and you don't. So I find I get frustrated with the golf games here. I do. Whereas the other games, they were very arcadey, and I didn't get that rage that I had. Cleveland baseball fan, Edmonton 1-0. Oh, they're trying to survive, right? Is that what they're trying to do? Boy, what if they lost again? They're all the players they have. They need to get deep into the playoffs. David C coming by. Good to see you, David C. Fenner says, I used to listen to Superman on the radio. They have them on the internet. Jimmy Olsen was created on radio. I like the I was in 4th grade. That was 1976. The Buccaneers come out, and our teacher brought in Shadow Records, and we turned out the lights one day, and he put it on, and let us listen to the Shadow, and they were, for a 10-year-old in the 70s, that was kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of creepy. They did a good job of scaring me with the Shadow. And then, as I grew up, I used to find it on the radio once in a while. Every now and then you catch CBS, so the CBS radio would have a good show. But satellite radio come out. I was like, oh man, old time radio, this is perfect. I listened to them all. They were great. Just sit back and just envision what happened. It was a fun time. Jim says, with video games, what happens on the screen happens. I think we already talked about that. When you're into the cards and dice and boards, it fades to background. Yep. With our Sims, the action is in the mind. Yep. And that's very enjoyable. That's the thing about it. It's very enjoyable. The video games, they spoon feed you the graphics, but what we do here, it's in our mind. It really is. And we envision that ball being hit, or that field goal, extra point being missed. And we enjoy that. That's what it is. Oh, they tied it up now, so it's 1-1. Interesting. Okay. Jim also says, as the dice, cards, and boards fade to the background, the game becomes real. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Sometimes when you're flipping cards or you're rolling dice, looking at the charts, you don't realize that you're doing it, because you're so concerned with the play that you're just imagining the play. Yeah, I think I see where you're coming from on that, because I've done that a few times where I'm playing like the app of football, the app of hockey, and I'm rolling the dice, and just I'm getting my results. And when I'm getting the results, the play is in my head. I'm envisioning what's happening on my tabletop, and it's not dice and cards. It's feed me the information, what's going on in the game, so I can imagine. And it's like reading a book. It really is. I think Ron brought that up one time. It's like reading a book. Is that when you're getting this information, it's like you're being fed the lines of a book, and you're reading it, and you're interpreting that book in your mind, and you are now creating this image in your mind, like you do with a book when you're playing these games. And as Charles says, in the PC, all the way, no consoles. Okay, so you're part of the PC master race. That's what we used to call it back in the day. Phoenix Knight. I mostly use my Switch for my workouts and fitness, boxing too, rhythm and exercise. I had the speak of the devil, I miss it. Don't lie. I just went through all the reasons why I don't like. I don't miss from video games. You'll have to watch it from the start. You've been mentioned in there a few times. You're not the target demographic anymore either. Just saying. W Vox comes by. Thanks for coming by. But getting back to Phoenix Knight there, I had not the Nintendo. What was it? The Wii, Nintendo Wii, and had the things, and you could play the sports games. Those were fun. I got a tennis game that I hurt my shoulder on because I played too much tennis. That was fun. I got exercise with that. And I was doing some of the exercises on the Wii in the living room. I'm not going to lie. Me and the wife were just stepping on the thing and doing our Wii exercises. The Wii was fun. There was a handful of fun games I really, really enjoyed with that. But the Wii was all right. And let's see. Gridiron Masters, my game will be a spiritual successor to the old 2K football games, but in the form of coach mode only RPG. Well, that'd be good. So you have a nice graphics on the screen, call the plays, and you don't have to worry about this. I can't do this anymore. I can't, as much as I like to, Have I tried Elden Ring? I would have loved it. Yeah, I was talking about the Skyrim and the Witcher 3. Those are the big ones for me. Those I really like, and I don't regret any of the time I put into those games there. But they got away from single player. They really get head-to-head arena matchup stuff, pay to play, things like that. They weren't making Dave games anymore. That's the problem. They just weren't making Dave games. Wrestling on video games was another frustration. I could never figure out how to do a wrestling game. It was just you hit the button again. It's a button thing for me, and I just do the same move over and over and over because I couldn't do anything. maybe on the PS2, I was able to do some stuff. Sweetest Jeff coming by. Thanks for coming by, Mr. Jeff. And he says, I used to own every video game console back in the day: Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and the Sony PlayStation. I stopped playing in my mid 30s. See, I got a little further than you. I stopped playing in my 50s, mid 50s. No, probably a little earlier than that, just right after I turned 50. And I think what kind of pushed me over the edge too is when they come out with the PS5 and the Xbox. I have no idea what the new Xbox is called. They had weird names. Is it the Xbox 35 Z4? I don't know. The PlayStation's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Simple enough. Xbox was Xbox, the 360. Then it was the Xbox One. Then it's the Xbox. I don't even know what it's called. I have no idea what the new Xbox is called. But when they went to the new systems, I never got one. So if they come out with a good game like Elden Ring, it's too bad because I probably won't play it. I think this is the last game I really played like that. I think it's Skyrim on the Xbox One. I picked it up for $20 a few years ago, and I was playing upstairs, and I was having some fun with it. I can always go back to Skyrim. And those videos are funny, Edie, with the Skyrim mods there. Those were fun. Now let's see here. Everett comes by, and Everett says, "I'm speaking your language with these points you are making." I hope that's a good thing. I hope it's a good thing. I'm just kind of this was the whole idea behind Digital to Dice. If you guys know the story of that, it was me frustrated with my video games because I loved them for so many years. I just couldn't do it anymore, and it was just. And I said, "There's got to be something I can play." And then I found the Football Mogul and Baseball Mogul, and then the Action PC games, and then that's where I went. That's when I left the console and video game world and went into this world here, and that's where I am right now, and it's much more relaxing. Yeah, I don't know if Edie's still here, but she can tell you some stories of me almost losing my cool as we played Xbox games. Yeah, almost lost my cool. Sweetest Jeff, the only time I play video games now is with my nephew and niece, and they kick my butt. Yes, yep, I'm the same way. I tried to play with somebody a long time ago, and oh, you know what else? We get into a hockey league. We get into an NHL hockey league with NHL, and I couldn't use the new control, so I'm using the old method, the pass and shoot. That's it. Well, I found out that when you went online and played other people online that were not using just pass and shoot, they were using all the extra stuff. You couldn't stop them. They would do these moves with their sticks and all their things, and my two buttons could not stop them. Now, if I'm playing by myself, it would work against the computer on easy mode. But once I went online, anything I tried to do that I could play in my easy mode game, I couldn't do, and we lost every game. And so I was on a team with some friends. I was like, I think I have to go, guys. I can't do this. It's just not working. I says, I'm a 2-button guy, and I need to really know how to lift sticks with the joystick and kind of hip check with the left joystick and, use my 2 middle fingers. And I don't want to say what I'm going to do with the 2 middle fingers, but yes, that's the only way you can play the game. Oh, man. Gary says, I go back to my Spectrum games on Internet Archive. Cool. David C., my video game playing days ended for me in college. I played more hours at Hockey 94 than I actually spent in class. I always said, I'm so glad that they didn't have the Sega Genesis hockey or even the Xbox 360 hockey. I enjoyed that as well when I was in school because I wouldn't have gone. We had the Atari, and it was just stick figures, and then the Intellivision, which you couldn't play against anybody, so you had to have somebody there, and I could never get anybody to play with me. But when the Sega come on, I was well out of high school, so I was an adult, so I could stay up all night and play. I'd be tired for work, but I'd be skipping school. If I had that as a kid, oh yeah, I'd be skipping school. He says, I still remind one of my friends, my best friends, a 20-game winning streak over him. Fun time. When I was in a band, as you've probably seen some of the band videos on my channel, I just picked up, you know what it was? We went to UMass, okay? That's how long ago it was. Where's my thing? Where's my thing? All right. So it was 1991 or 92, 91, fall of 91. We went to UMass with a couple of guys in the band, and we partied out at UMass. And in one of the dorms, the kid had the Sega Genesis with the NHL hockey. And I remember, like, what is this? I've never heard of the Sega Genesis or NHL hockey. And I remember pulling out the manual, and I snuck the manual back to where we were staying. I read the whole thing and said, this game's unbelievable. And I went back and put the manual back. I did put it back, but I wanted to read the whole thing because it was a thick manual back then. And I was like, I need to get this. So as soon as we get back, that Sunday night, Monday, I went out and I don't know how I even got the money for it, but I found the game and the Sega Genesis and put this in, and I couldn't stop playing it. It was unbelievable. And to a point, the band would come over to my house and we would play it and have little tournaments. And in the liner notes of our cassette, yes, we had a cassette, the cassette of the band. In the liner notes, we had mentioned the Sega hockey. That's kind of how important Sega hockey was to me. I don't know if I have that. I had the cassette here somewhere. I was going to show you. No, these are all the live tapes I have. I almost had it right down here on my fingertips. That would have been kind of funny if I did. But anyway, so that the Sega Genesis hockey made it into the liner notes of our debut cassette. 4 songs. And I put in there, I think I put like Dave 11, Jerry 2, because I would crush the lead singer all the time in Sega Genesis hockey. In fact, another true story. After I had left that band, I was looking for another band. And these 2 guys, I forget how we did it back in the day before the internet. I don't know if you go to the music store and you put your name there, or if you put it in a magazine. But anyway, I got a call from these 2 guys, and they were, 20 minutes, half hour away. So I said, okay, I'll come down and talk to them. So I went down and talked to them about joining their band and what music they play and the whole bit. Things were going really well. And I saw the Sega Genesis. I go, oh, you got Sega Genesis? He goes, yeah. Oh, you got the hockey? Yeah. We'll play some hockey? Yeah. And I beat the guy in hockey. And I don't know if he was the singer or the drummer. I forget. And I beat him in hockey. And I didn't get the job. Yeah, I was sitting there. Yeah, I won the game. Beat you. Yeah. They never called me back. And I was gonna get it. They liked me. We had the same style of music, and I'm pretty sure they would have taken me in the band. And after that, after I beat him, he didn't take me back. So, yeah. So it's a couple of fun Sega Genesis stories. I did love playing Tecmo Super Bowl, says Sweetest Jeff. When I worked for Hollywood Video, me and another guy would rent a copy every weekend. So much fun. Remember that? Renting video games? Remember that? That's old school. PGA Tour 2 on the Sega, had a blast with that. Yeah, Everett. That's the thing about the golf games were the one game that I didn't struggle with. I had a pretty easy, although the 3-click button was hard. It's like click, 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 and you try to get it. And, sometimes you couldn't get it. But if you got into the flow with that, you could get it going pretty well. And I found that that's one of the only games dexterity-wise I could play, especially if you put it on easy mode and that meter went up real slow. So you could always hit the sweet spot. And that was just fun, especially they had like an easy mode too, where you just hit it down the middle every time. So those games were fun. Those games I didn't get frustrated with hardly at all. Sweet as Jeff. Dave C. I used to love NHL video games from the 90s. Yep. And those 90 Sega Genesis hockey games, the best. They're all up there. I think I've seen you guys have seen the picture. I don't know if can I spin that up there? There they are. All the Sega Genesis up over there. That's where I have them all. It's right up the top over there. And I planned on doing some Sega here. I do have a way of hooking up to the computer and getting some video here. So I was going to put them in. What I wanted to do is compare all the games, show off, give like 5 or 10 minutes of footage of all the Sega Genesis games. That's what I wanted to do. I know there's a cards and dice version of the Temco game on drive-thru. I'm tempted to try it. That's interesting. And Temco Super Bowl. Yep, that's great. That'd be interesting to play, something like that, right? The a cards and dice version. There's a cards and dice version, or not a cards and dice, but a board game version, tabletop version of Skyrim that I wanted to try. It's expensive, and it takes up a lot of space. So I don't know. It's probably nothing I could play here in Studio B, although maybe Studio A I could clear off the table and at least try it. And I've asked people how it was, and it's such mixed reviews. Some people say it's terrible, don't get it. And other people like, it feels like you're playing the video game because you can do side quests and all this. I think someday I might have to pick it up and at least give it a try because it was my favorite computer game on the favorite adventure game of all time. I'm always tempted. I might even I don't know if it's Oblivion or Skyrim. I have here on Steam. I think there was one time Oblivion was like $5 or $10. I was like, I should just get Oblivion. I think Skyrim's still been 20, but I think I did pick up Oblivion one time here on Steam. It's like, yeah, maybe I'll play that because I did like Oblivion too. I would always play when you create your character. I'd always create the lizard, like the Argonian, I think it was called, because I like going in the water. And there was it Skyrim? You could stand underwater forever, pretty much, as the lizard. And so I remember finding all the oceans, and I would swim in the oceans and just explore. And 90% of it, there was nothing there. But every now and then you stumble on a chest and you get 3 gold pieces. Oh, that was so worth that last hour. 3 gold pieces. But it was fun just swimming around in the water, not having to worry about coming up for air or using a potion or whatever. So I used to always be the lizard guy every time. Let's see. David C says that was a great time for video games, sweetest Jeff. I broke so many controllers throwing them off the dresser and the walls. I should have had stock in Sega Genesis. Yeah. And you're still here. Oh, so Edie's still here, by the way. She's still doing the Game Hounds podcast. I guest hosted a couple weeks ago. They record on Sunday afternoons there, our time. So I guest hosted on the show, but I may or may not have lost my cool a couple times. But it was all about the pay to win. It's like I'd have a terrible gun. And it's just like, come on. Why do I remember spending $15 on that Battlefield game just so I could unlock some guns. Oh man, so frustrating. Everett says I couldn't afford to throw my Sega controls. I was so broke back then. It's hard. Again, that's what kind of sparked this discussion tonight was the videos on YouTube of video game raging. The guys and the girls, and like most of it's the controls and the keyboards, and every now and then punch right into that screen, and the monitor's gone. And these guys had some good equipment. Now, chances are, if they're streaming, they're probably making some decent money. They're not rich, but they could probably afford to buy stuff if they're streaming. They got enough subs, and I would imagine that part of that rage is the entertainment, but part of it's probably going to be real too. David's Swedish Jeff says, Dave, David C, I would sim the whole season on Temco's Super Bowl, then take the Bills, and we lost so many Super Bowls to the Cowboys, and I finally won. It felt like such a sense of accomplishment. Oh, one of the guys that I was watching in the video game rage stream, he gets killed in whatever game he's playing, and he's slamming his stuff. He threw his control, and when he left the frame, behind him, he had some jerseys hanging up. What do you think he had for jerseys? Cowboys and Atlanta Falcons. It's like, dude, no wonder why you're frustrated. If you're a Cowboys fan and an Atlanta Falcons fan, oh yeah, I can see how you get mad real quick. Just in everyday life. Those are a couple of tough teams to have as favorites. Yeah, it was nuts. And Swedish Jeff, Bo Jackson on Temco Bowl and Temco Bowl Super Bowl was legendary. Yeah. Did you ever see the videos of the guys? I think it was Bo Jackson. They would get it and they'd just run around the whole field and the entire quarter, and you couldn't catch them. And it would be like 1st and 10 on the 20, and they would run the entire 15 minutes. Now, again, it's faster time, but the entire 15 minutes, and then they'd go in and score a touchdown. And that just is, there's so many videos of people doing that on YouTube. It's like, yeah, that's a little bit cartoony for me. Sky Quest 2K8, thanks for coming by. NHL hockey games on the Genesis consumed many hours of my life, joyfully so. Yes, it did. Oh my gosh. And I remember the first time I won the Stanley Cup in the first Sega Genesis game. And I think that's my favorite, is the first one. Let me grab it. It's right here, actually, so I can grab it. Hopefully I don't wreck anything. But this is the one. Obviously, this is the first one, right? That's the one that started off for me. Still my top 5 video games of all time. So this is the first one here. And I remember the first time I won the Stanley Cup was with the New York Rangers, because you could set up a playoff tournament and you could set your matchups. For some reason, I took the Rangers, and I ended up beating the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks got to the finals. They were an expansion team too, but I put them in the playoffs, and it was me. I think it was just a 1-game series. And I think I beat them, and it was Christmas Day. Must have been Christmas Day 91. Yep, because I don't even think I had met my wife at the time, and I met her in February of 92. And so, because we went to UMass in the fall of 91. That's when I got it. Played the crap out. Couldn't stop playing it. Couldn't stop playing this game. All hours of the night. People coming over, we play it. I play it myself. And I finally won the cup with the Rangers. It was Christmas morning, because I had a friend that I used to work with, and he kind of lived across the street. So he stopped by Christmas morning, and we're just sitting there probably having a beer or whatever. And I was like, dude, I finally won the Stanley Cup. He's like, really? He's like, yeah, I won the Stanley Cup. And it's like this skating around the cup. I was like, it was such a cool moment. It really was. It was such a cool moment. So many, so Sky Quest 2K, I agree with you. The games on the Sega Genesis are great. And I enjoyed the football games too. The Madden games are good. Couldn't do the baseball, even though I still have some baseball games. Like Tony La Russa was kind of fun, but I couldn't hit or anything like that in the baseball, like I talked about earlier. But I really did like all those Sega Genesis games. The hockey and the football, great. Even the basketball, the Lakers versus Celtics in the NBA playoffs, those were fun. So slow coming up the court, like really slow. But I enjoyed those. I did. I had some fun with that. And Gary says, 44 here, lost the time to play video games. I've been getting into Fast Drive Football and FIB, Fascinating Baseball. Now I want a hockey game, but can't decide between Hockey Blast or Hockey Bones. Very different games. They're very different games. Hockey Bones is a lot like APA. No charts, though. You're just reading off the cards. And it's a very straightforward type of game based on player's skill and the whole bit. It's got a pretty big manual, but don't let that scare you. It's actually a pretty straightforward game. I do like the Hockey Bones. And the Hockey Blast, I went back and forth to that a few times. And since they come out with the Hockey Blast Express, and I played that, I went back to the regular game, and this time it worked for me. But it's very different. They're two very different games, the Hockey Blast and the Hockey Bones. So watch some videos on it. I have some here on my channel, and there's some on other channels as well, and just see what one suits your style, so to speak. But they're very different. I enjoy them both. Like I said, they're just very different games. The thing about the Hockey Blast, their cards are really small, but you can lay them all out at once. Whereas the Bones, I tend to stack them up when I play the Hockey Bones. But they're both super, super fun games. If you want something like Fast Drive Football or Fascinating Baseball, look at Shootout Hockey or Stone Cold Hockey. Those are very quick games like the Fast Drive Football. So if you like the quicker games, that's the way to go. Shootout Hockey and Stone Cold Hockey. And Sweetest Jeff, I'm probably in the minority, but I enjoyed playing Tecmo more than Madden. Madden is just too complicated for me. Great graphics, but too complicated. I liked the Madden on the Sega Genesis. And I liked the Madden on the 360? 360, I think. What I really like, the best one by far, is the 2K games. The 2K hockey, and it was the 2005 set of games. I have them right over here. I used to have them behind me. I can't see what they're called now. I think it was like ESPN. Was it ESPN 2K? Because there's a hockey one. There's a hockey one and a football one, even a baseball one. But that 2005 it's still rated some of the best games. Those are the ones to play. And I like the 989 sports too. 989. Remember that? 989 sports? I remember those. I enjoyed the 989. So that 040506 had some fantastic games for the 360. I really, really did like them. And then, when we get into the newer Xbox, was it, I don't know what it was called, Xbox One. I don't remember. I lost the order. And the PS4, they got too complicated for me. But the Madden on the Genesis was very arcadey and goofy, but fun. But when they got on the 360, I think it was, and the PS2, those were great. Those were really, really great games in the mid 2000s. Those were fun. P-Jet coming by. Hi, P-Jet. And Gary says, my Steam library is full of all sorts. Sorts of sports, probably a little bit of everything. My Steam library, not a lot of sports, but a lot of stuff in there. I need to pick up the new game, is the Talos Principle 2. It's on sale, so I need to get it before it gets off sale. I want to give that a try, because I did play Talos Principle 1, but as a first-person game, that's the one I got sick on when my friend played it. I could play it, and I could play it in doses, but when he played it, I got sick. I couldn't play it. I just couldn't do it. And P-Jet says, surprisingly, I didn't go for video sports games. I mostly like auto racing and first-person shooters. I still play my auto racing here. I have some on Steam, and every once in a while you'll see me play it, and I forget which one it was called. I think it wasn't called Dirt. I have the Dirt ones, but there's another one, and I forget what they are, and they're fun. And you just race through the cities, and I just set everything to easy, and you can't crash and ruin your car. And I just smash through people, and I win every race on easy mode, and it's just fun. And I don't remember what the games are called, but I have some videos on my channel me playing those. And the racing games are fun. You just turn down all the damage and just do that. I like the night racing where you could put on the lights and just try to drive at night and stuff. So there was some really, really fun racing games that I played back in the day, because you could dumb them down. You could just kind of play so easy on the racing games. If you try to play some of them, they're too realistic. They're too realistic. There was the game I played. It was a shooter game. I played it in 2009, and it was a realistic shooter game. And as soon as you get shot, you're either dead or you're so wounded you can't play the game. It's like, yeah, this ain't fun. It was like Scorpion River or Scorpion Dragon River or something like that. I don't know what it was, but it was supposed to be like a realistic shooter game. And then people realize that they don't want a realistic shooter game. They want an arcade game is what they want. I have not played the Blood Bowl. That's one game I have not played. And Swedish Jeff says he loves the organ music in the NHL Sega games. Yep. You know what I thought was really great, and I don't know which version it was in, when they added the scores at the bottom. So when it was a whistle and it brought up the scoreboard and it started like rolling some of the scores of the other games at the bottom. And then they would go to the highlights. Remember that? They'd go to the highlights. So the period would end and be like, go to a whole different game and you'd see the goal scored. That was genius. That really was. That was way ahead of its time. Jeff says World Series baseball and Sega Genesis was good. NBA Live 95 was too. I think I had the NBA Live 95. I think I enjoyed that. Adirondack Gus Gaming coming by. Good evening. I was always more of a Tecmo fan than Madden, but I did check out Madden when the ambulance would run over the injured player's legs. Was that great? The Madden ambulance, he would come on the ice, or whoever was driving the ambulance would just run over to people to pick up the guy that was hurt. We're saving lives. that was a good time. So those are the days. Those are the days. The new stuff is unbelievable. It looks fantastic. It looks real, and the whole bit. It just got a little too much for me, and so that's why I don't play it nearly as much. And Gridiron Masters also says PS1 football was fun. Game Day, Game Breaker, Quarterback Club, NCAA, and Madden 98. What was that game that it was called? ESPN 2K5. Yeah, those are the ones. Yep, that was the one right here. Let me see if I can get the image to come up. Oh, it was on the Xbox and the PS2. Okay, that's what it was. So let me see if I can share this screen with you right here. Share screen. This right here. Okay. So so that's the one that I thought was the best. So it was on the regular Xbox. It was not on the Xbox 360. It was PS2 and the regular Xbox. Now I have a PS2 and a regular Xbox at the house here. The PS2s are easier to find, I find, out in the wild. But I did play this for the football here. So that's Terrell Owens in the front. That was the best, I thought. And again, the basketball game wasn't too bad either. The 2K5 basketball. Now there was the hockey. I can find the hockey down here. Yep, there it was. So the ESPN 2K hockey. Yep, there it was right there. That was the great one. I thought that was the last of the best hockey games was that one right there for me. And then maybe coming in behind that was NHL 2014 because I think the 2014 NHL, which was for the Xbox 360, I think that's the one where you could play one player. And so I'd be on defense and I'd play defense and it'd show you where to go. And, you try to stay where you were, you get points for, I think you got, was that the one you got points for trying to stay in position? There was one of them that you played if you stayed in your position, you get points. Maybe that was one of the newer ones. But anyway, this one here, you would skate to the bench when you get tired and you would rest. And then your meter would start building up. And then you jump back out on the ice and play again until you get tired. Then if you get tired, you couldn't skate. So you come off and rest. And if you got a penalty, you sat in the box. You could sit in the box and look around. That was great. I think that was 2014, EA Sports 2014. But this one, I think the NHL 2K5, I think that one was the best, if you ask me. The whole 2K5 series on the original Xbox, I think was the best. But Gridiron Masters, yeah, we're right in the same ballpark here. The stuff before that too was really good. The Game Day, 989 Sports, I really like that. And Gus says I loved XCOM on the PC back in the day and actually finished the game after many weeks of play. That's pretty cool. And PJet, I loved car combat games to PlayStation. Twisted Metal, Vigilante, Road Trip, etc. I think I picked up Twisted Metal at one of the retro stores. I don't know if I played it or not yet. That's that the one in the van that had the clown head on the top that would bob back and forth. Was that Twisted Metal? I think they might have come out with a newer version of that too. And Sweetest Jeff says Adirondack Gus, super high impact football on Sega was hilarious. Do I have that? Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Check it out. It was essentially the XFL years before, lots of trash talking and cheap shots. Not great, but great fun. So let me so I think, is that it? Super high impact football. What did I pay for it? $8.99. And the other one I got unnecessary roughness 95. These two, I got to get these both on the channel somehow. So let's take a look at this one first. So here's high impact, and then on the back, see what it is. And then you got this one here, unnecessary roughness. Again, no logos on the helmets. And the game is so intense. Everything else is unnecessary. And that's what we got here. So I got to get some of these on the channel here. I have what do I have? Is the Retron 5 I think I have that plays these games. So I need to get those on the channel. I think it would be fun. And Sweetest Jeff, Road Rash on Sega Genesis was good. And Gridiron Mass, yeah, NFL 2K is the greatest. I thought so too. I thought NFL 2K was really, really fun. And he also says, so sometimes just watch the Sports Center shows they had in the game. Yeah. I that was the best. This, now let's go to, Seattle with the Seahawks taking on the Broncos. And it was a whole, you could get all the highlights from the game. And it just felt like you were watching TV. It did. It felt like you were watching TV when you did that. Like you were sitting there on a Sunday afternoon and you're playing your game, but you also get the highlights and the whole bit, and just it was so good. It really was. And I don't know if they still do that in the games, but that was so good when they did that. It was very fun. And that's so what was that? The 2K. That was I had so much fun. And that's kind of like the play games, especially the play golf, History Maker Golf. When I play that game, it's like I'm watching golf on TV on a Sunday afternoon, and that thing just plays out, and they're coming down. The the first groups go out and play, and then the better groups play, and you're following all, and it just feels like you're watching Sunday golf. And when a game does that, it is so good. And that's a tabletop game. We were talking about video games. History Maker Golf on the tabletop. It's Sunday golf. It really is. And yes, Shorzy 3 coming out soon. And is there any more chance of power washing? I stumbled on that the other day. I had an update. Steam comes on as when I play Digital Diamond, Steam boots up, and I had an update for the power wash thing. It's like I should play that again. That was fun, but it's first person, and I got dizzy playing that game. I did. I got dizzy playing the power wash game, and it was relaxing. Just cleaning things was so fun. In fact, I got to pull out my power washer this summer and do some more power washing. I do my deck and do my shed and the whole bit. It comes out great. It does. Power washing is fun, especially on a hot day. When you're just getting wet on a hot day, it just cools you down. It's pretty good. I think I power washed one time in February here. We had a day, it was like 60 degrees in February. I took up my power wash. I was like, 60 degrees in February is like 100 degrees, during the rest of the year. It's just, you're so used to 0 degrees. When it gets to be 60, it's like everyone's out acting like it's summertime. So Shorzy 3, yes, I want to check that out. I wasn't too crazy about season 2 of Shorzy. Season 1 was brilliant. Season 2 was okay. And Mutant League Hockey, I have that too. I won't go get it, but I do have Mutant League Hockey. I didn't like it. I did not like Mutant League Hockey because it wasn't hockey. It was goofy. It was like Blood Bowl. And that's what it was supposed to be. But it wasn't hockey. And I wanted to play hockey. So when I played that game, I didn't have much fun with it. I bought it. I bought a beat up coffee. So I have it here. I haven't even tried it yet, but the case is beat up. But at least I have it. So I have the whole collection of Sega hockey games. Not football, but hockey I have. It's my sport. And I didn't like the mutant hockey. That will make it on the channel here at some point, but I did not like it. And let's see over here. Sweetest Jeff. Road Rash 3D was the motorcycle game and had a great soundtrack. Sugar Ray was on it before they became pop. Interesting. If you don't want to do it, tell your wife you got dizzy like the video game. Yeah. Yeah. Can you go cut the grass? Oh, I'm getting dizzy. It's the first person grass cutting game. That's what I should do, right, Gandalf? Oh man. By the way, that stuff you sent me was great. I printed that out right away, and do I have it over here somewhere? I thought I did. Whatever it was you sent me, I know we've been talking on email, and you sent me some really. Oh, it was the See, was it the season ticket? I think it was the season ticket baseball chart you sent me, right? Like I said, I've been talking to a ton of people this week, especially for the Apple hockey. The fun thing about the community is doing videos and showing some things to the community. But what you don't see is, when I said that I could send out the Excel charts for Apple hockey, I got 50 emails from people wanting the charts. It's just coming in every hour, 2 or 3, and I'd send them out and then send them out. And it was like an entire week of just sending out spreadsheets. And Ron's like, holy cow. He's like, I don't know that many people played Apple hockey. He's like, I didn't either. So the video, took me 20 minutes to make, and I spent just hours and hours and hours of reading email and sending out the spreadsheet. Some things you don't see here, on the channel, all the emails that go back and forth and things that we do here. It's a busy time here. It's busy doing this stuff. Let me tell you. And yes, it was the season ticket chart, the ground outs and flyouts. Yes, that was super helpful. I put that in my season ticket folder here. Where's my season ticket folder? I'd pull it out and show you, but I think I put it away here. But yeah, no, that was great. The for season ticket there, because it just gives you an idea what happens on a play. I like that. Like I say, I'm going back. Let's say I love my app of baseball, so that's up there. But then I get my season ticket and my payoff pitch, and season ticket's starting to edge out the other games right now. I don't know why. It just is. And what do we have? Glenn. Okay, Glenn's got something going on here. My daughter plays the Power Wash game. No way. No way. That is awesome. I told her she wants to do it for real. She could power wash the house. And I got the he gets the eye roll. I'm waiting for a good snowplow game. I used to go out with my stepfather when he plowed snow, and I could have done that all night. I just like, even when I do my own driveway, like when I get at the we have the snow blower. I I don't mind it. As long as it's not, what I don't like is when it's raining. Like you get the snow and it warms up, it turns to rain. So you go out and you're getting pelted with rain. So it's still cold, you're getting pelted with rain, and then you're wet. And you're wet and you're cold. And then, I wear glasses and they fog up and you can't see anything. So that's when I don't like it. But if it's just cold out and the snow's kind of powdery, I'll snow blow all day. I don't mind it. So I'm waiting for a good snowplow game so you can kind of like clear streets and stuff. That would be kind of fun. So it's funny how we have these things like, the power wash game. I think there was a grass cutting game, a painting game, all these mundane things we do in life, and we're playing them here on the computer just for fun. It's like, why would you do that? But there's a car mechanic game, right? Where you can fix a car in the garage, right? So there's all kinds of things we do here that mimics real life stuff that I don't know why. I don't know why I want to do a power washing game, but I want to power wash out there. And Jeff says, Joe Montana football on Sega Genesis was a good one. Do you remember on the Sega Genesis the Joe Montana talking football? Remember that one there? Those were great. There was a baseball and a football, and it actually had a broadcaster on there, and it was very distorted. And it's like half back up the middle, 5 yards. That was a fun one, and it would zoom in. So when you threw the pass, it would it kind of zoomed in on the catch. There goes the receiver. And I think the only name in the game was Montana. It was like Montana back to pass because it was Joe Montana talking football. But there was a talking football and a talking baseball. And I think there was a Joe Montana talking football too. And I don't have those up on my wall. I still kept those. Those are down. Yeah, those are, I have those put away over here. I won't pull them out. I will show you one thing that I have though. This is, and I never heard of this game. Never heard of this game. Hang on one second. And I got the game, and it didn't have a manual. And somehow, I don't know if it was eBay or if it was just kind of loose at one of these stores, but I found this game, and I have it complete now. And I haven't played this one either. And it's terrible from what I've seen on videos. Jerry Glanville, Pigskin Foot Brawl. Okay? And I don't know if you can see the images here. It's a medieval type football game. Alrighty? It's kind of a medieval type football game. I don't know what it has to do with football. I have no idea. But I did find it. I picked it up, and I even got the manual. And the manual's in good shape too. So I haven't played it yet, but that's on my list of games to play. Jerry Glanville's Pigskin Foot Brawl. Never heard of it. I suppose if I bought it back in the day, it's probably worth like $100 right now or $50. So all these games back in the day, you pick them up for cheap money, and just if you could hang on to them, you make some money there. And SkyQuest says Mutant League Hockey was a great change of pace for me. It's how much I played NHL hockey. I can see that. I can see how playing a crazy game like that would be a nice little change of pace. Just because you're always playing serious hockey, then you have a goofy game like that. I can see that. For me though, I just didn't enjoy it. I don't know why. I just had a hard time enjoying that game. Let's see what else we have on here. And Gandalf, I enjoy them because they are satisfying. It's like setting up your replay that is satisfying in some way. Yep. And Jeff, I do remember Joe Montana talking football. There was also a handheld talking baseball and football with a play-by-play announcer sounded like Bella Lugosi. Those I don't think I remember those. I don't think. That I'm not 100% sure about. Where are we here? Okay, so Jerry Glanville pigskin football is super high impact on steroids. Oh, jeepers creepers, I can imagine that. It looked like they were running on a field with rocks, and they were like Vikings. Snowplow Simulator should be released in December. Yeah, I would play that. If I could drive a truck and just drive around, I looked everywhere. I mean, there might be one out now, but when I looked years ago, I was like, man, I could just kick back here and just plow snow. That would be fun. Sometimes doing mundane things on a computer or the console, whatever it is kind of fun. I, I, you want if Keith Avalon would make a snowplow game for play games? I'm gonna drop that bug in his ear. Keith, can we get a cards and dice snowplow game? I don't know what you would put in that game. So you obviously wouldn't want to hit other cars, but you would definitely get a bonus for plowing in the end of someone's driveway that just cleared it. So if you can time it, so they just finished clearing their driveway and you can plow it back in with snow, you get a bonus. That would be the two things I'd put in the game. I think that would be hilarious. Oh, that's not a joke. So Glenn says they have a snowplow simulator. It says planned for Q2 of 2024. So that's not a joke. Oh, I thought Gandalf was kind of pulling my leg here. Interesting. Well, that'll be on the channel unless it's like $50, and I'm not gonna get it. It says not available on Steam yet, but just coming soon. Keep an eye out for the game Snowplow. It looks extremely realistic. They're looking for play testers too. I hope it's not too realistic because I wanted something a little bit cartoony, like a Martuni, but it's a cartoony. Pigskin football is more along the lines of Mutant League hockey, albeit in medieval times. So I was right with the medieval times. Glanville actually says, let's kick some butt throughout the game. That could be fun. That could be a good time. But the snowplow game has me real interested. It really does. Snowplow game. I like the Power Wash game, but I get a little dizzy with that. And it's kind of weird with the controls. It's trying to get everything squared. I tried to play it with the mouse and I couldn't get it with the mouse. So I'm playing with the controller. It was kind of janky. So I had a hard time with that. I do like the puzzle game I played. I played that a few times here on the channel. It's just a jigsaw puzzle, and you right click to spin the piece and drop it in place. Those are fun. I think I just bought. They had a sale on some puzzles. They have a puzzle bundle. You can get it for like $2 or $3. So I think I picked up some of those. Those are fun to play. They were simple and it was kind of fun though. I enjoyed the heck out of those. But so I need to get some of the Sega Genesis games here back on the channel. Here I am talking about video games, what I don't miss, and now I'm talking about putting video games here on the channel. But again, the Sega Genesis, you can't get mad at Sega Genesis. Not well, a little bit maybe, but not nearly as much as the newer games. And again, I just don't like how it's the pay to win now for a lot of things. And you get, when you buy the game now, and then you got to spend more on it to get more things in the game. Do you want to, have different characters or different outfits? You got to pay for all those. You got to pay to get better guns or better sticks or better equipment in there. I don't know. It's just that whole buying the game and spending all the extra money kind of turned me off too. So, and SkyQuest 2K says, that sounds very familiar. I might have a game somewhere in storage. That'd be kind of neat. So anyway, so I don't know what the next thing I'm going to do is. We had John on this week, and we were talking to him about the games he's playing and his channel, and just the excitement of that he's showing. Sweetest Jeff and John Alexander, just two of the guys here that have kind of come up here in the community, and just it's infectious watching them play and talking about their games, and it's just been getting me excited to play some games here. And then it was Jason Flash Football over there that was talking about, he's doing tournaments. And that's one thing I never talked about. And I talked a little bit on the podcast this week about I should play tournaments. And I always wanted to either do the one-off and be done with it, or play an entire playoffs or an entire season, which is a longer project, as you know. But in between the one-offs and the season, you can do these tournaments, and I always thought they were kind of weird. I'll be honest with you. I thought playing tournaments are weird. And Adirondack Gus says most of my replays are tourneys. And here's why I thought tournaments are weird. And I'm trying to figure out how I can say this. Because it's like when you play the season, you have the schedule in the season, and you can compare it to what happened in real life. And then the one-offs, it's just a one-off game. So maybe you play a game in real life, your Super Bowl, or whatever. I like to pull out a hockey game, just play one game once in a while. But it's not part of anything. It feels like a one-night stand. It's like, just see you later. Thank you, man. Wham, bam, thank you, man. So it's not part of anything. So you scratch the itch of playing a couple of players or a team you want to play. Or again, I go back over here once in a while and I say, okay, I need to pull out a couple of teams from this season because I bought the season and I want to play the dang thing. And so I'll play a game or two just to get in the game and feel good about myself. But with the tournaments, the thing was, it wasn't a season. It wasn't a one-off. It was your own thing. So it's like, okay, I'm going to take these 8 teams and they're going to play each other twice, and I'm going to have a winner, but it's hard to relate to that because, what you set up for a tournament, it didn't happen in real life. It wasn't the playoffs, and it wasn't this, it was that. And so it's kind of like almost like a fictional thing. And so all these people are like, I'm going to take these 10 teams and I'm going to play them out and come out with a winner. And I'll be like, well, okay. But thinking about it now and just trying to, think about gaming, excuse me, I could play these tournaments now. And Ron says I should do it in hockey. He's probably absolutely right because I will never play a full season of hockey. Baseball, I'm trying with APA baseball. I'm trying to do the 78 Red Sox full season in APA baseball because that plays really quick. The hockey takes a little bit longer. So I don't usually do much with the hockey. I play the one-offs, or maybe I'll play a Stanley Cup series or something like that. But Ron says that the hockey would be the best thing for me to do with the tournaments because I could take a handful of teams that I would like to play and then play them all and have a winner. And it's a short project. And it started to make sense when Jason talked about it. He goes, I play my little tournaments here offline, and I have a fun time because I get to play my teams, and I get to see going head to head and see who does what, and then get a winner. And it doesn't take forever. And it just something about the way he put it made sense. And so I think I'm going to try that. But I again, when I saw other people like, I'm playing the tournament, I'm playing, these 5 baseball teams or these 6 hockey teams or these 6 football, whatever, basketball teams. And I was just like, well, it's hard to follow along with someone's tournament because it's custom. Yeah, so it's like, how do I follow along with that? But it's like playing it, though, is probably better than trying to follow it because it's your world. So you've created this tournament. I'm going to take these teams, and I want to see how they do playing against each other, and I'm going to see which guy's going to win. So I think I'm going to try that. I think I'm going to try some tournaments, or at least start with one. And I don't know what game engine I'm going to use with that, or how I'm going to do the tournament. That's the things. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Ron suggested a double elimination. So you play, go into losers bracket and play. So I could probably do something like that. That might be kind of fun. And just kind of get a winner with that. But again, it's not a winner of the season. It's not a winner of a playoffs. It's kind of a fantasy, kind of a fictional thing that you're doing. So that's why I never really thought about tournaments. But I think I might try it. I might step out of my comfort zone and try a tournament and see how it goes. Maybe just start off with 4 teams or 6 teams, something not too crazy. Or maybe have them play everybody. Each team plays each other twice, one home, one away. I don't know. There's many different ways to do a tournament, I guess. Either all neutral ice or neutral fields. and do that. I don't know. I gotta think this through, but I never really thought about doing tournaments because I thought it was either full seasons, playoffs, or one offs. I didn't think about, and then that's the other thing too. Is people say, oh, I'm gonna play a 20 game season instead of a 80 game season. But now I'm like, hey, that's a shorter product. That's something I could do. Maybe that's something I do. So all these other things, I don't know what it was. I always had in my mind that you needed to play the full season or not at all. Why would I want to shorten it up? Because I would feel like you're shorting yourself. But I kind of see it now that it's a project that you can finish. So maybe this is another a growth spurt, right? In my game playing that I'm going to start looking at some other things. And thank you for doing those introductions to the other channels. I enjoyed adding them to your algorithm. Yeah, and I got more I'm going to do. It's because I got some people that are supporting me here on the channel, and they're supporting the podcast. So I think it's only right that they're supporting me that I support them. So, and Gus is playing some regular season basketball. What teams and what year are you playing? Because I do like regular season basketball very much. Maybe that's one I'll do a tournament with, and just kind of do basic mode. And Jeff says, thank you for promoting your channel. You've had a lot of new subscribers and cool people joining last week. That's great. Well, that's what it's about. It's we're kind of here to help each other and promote each other. That's what it's about. So I'm glad. I'm glad that worked out for you. And if you ever get 72 on Apple Football, let me see the Raiders Steelers Immaculate Reception game. I might do that like an Action PC or something. Action PC's having a huge sale again. And they didn't have the football seasons on sale. So I thought about maybe grabbing a couple of football seasons. That's what I'm thinking about doing. And Gus is a double elimination. Okay, now how many teams do you usually do in that double elimination? Is that like 4, 6, 8, 10? I mean, what's a good number and why? When you do tournaments, are you taking the top 8 teams? Are you just taking 8 of your favorite teams? Do you throw in a wild card team in there just to see how they would do? I mean, the other thing I don't like to do, I don't like to always play the good teams. You know me, I like the bad teams. And I suppose I could do a bad team tournament and take the bottom teams. That might be kind of fun too, was playing some of the worst teams. Get some SEALs and some scouts on here. And I know PJet would be all over that. But you could do some bottom teams and see how they do. Who was it? Was it PJet that did the worst of the worst, and he would play the teams in the tournament, and if you lost, you advanced, and the idea was to keep losing or something like that. Someone did like a losers tournament. It was kind of neat to see who would lose the most games. And if you lost, you advanced. And so that would just show that you were the worst or something. I forget how they did it, but it was kind of neat. And let me see. David C says, any Apple football player is able to replicate the Dolphins' undefeated season? That I'm not sure about. I don't have 72 yet on Appa. I don't know if I don't go that far back. I have 75, and I need to play some of those games. Those would be kind of fun. And Gus is playing the 74-75 NBA playoffs, Warriors and the Supersonics. Game 2. I like the Supersonics. I didn't realize they didn't have a team anymore in Seattle. I didn't realize it. I thought this is, like I said, I haven't followed basketball in a long time, as you can tell, but I used to like the Supersonics, the green team, the little Space Needle logo, I think it was, and they had some good matchups against the Celtics. I used to like the Seattle Supersonics, and I didn't realize they didn't have a team anymore. And Gus says 8 or 6 is a good 8 or 16 is a good way to say. I'll probably do the 8 then. Probably do the 8. And Sweetest Jeff says the funny thing about the Dolphins is 73 team is probably better. Yeah, Ron says that all the time. He thought the 73 team was better. PJet said I had a 16 team playoffs with the worst teams from his inside the crease seasons. Had to have 50 points or fewer. 77, 78 North Stars were the champs. So you did it. So, all right. So obviously it was the winners. That was a winners bracket for you that you did. Okay. It was the worst teams, but you still had the winner go on. There was someone that did if you lost, you won. It might have been baseball too. That if they lost, you advanced. So if you won, you were out. It's kind of interesting. I watched gotta be a 3 or a 6 hour. There was a 3-part series on YouTube about the North Stars, about them first coming into the league all the way up to when they finally left and went to Dallas. And it was interesting to see how bad this team was and why the team was so bad, and how the fans would go to the home games chanting to either have the team move or get rid of the owner, is they were that unhappy. And well before the Barons come in and merge with them, they were just up and down. And then they'd have a couple of spurts. They went to the Cup against the Islanders, and people flocked to see him. And then they went to the Cup against the Penguins. But aside from that, the North Stars really were a bad team. And this whole video documentary that they put together talked about this team and how bad they were. It was very interesting. I remember it was 3 parts, and I think each part was at least an hour long. And I remember sitting there over the course of a couple of nights and like, why am I watching 6 hours of North Stars? But it was interesting to see the history of the team and why they were bad, and who was there and who wasn't, and the coaches and the owners and all the things that were going wrong with that team. So it was really fun to watch. And Jeff said, I used to have a game called the Toilet Bowl and play 2 of the worst teams for that particular season. Yep. I think it's fun to play the bad teams once in a while. Sometimes it can be a little depressing. And Gus says, I've done a tourney of crappy teams using Action PC Baseball. It was a lot of fun. I was kind of wondering if I should do that on the PC instead of cards and dice. Maybe the first tournament I could do on the computer and just set it up. And so I've been meaning to get the Action PC Baseball game. They had it on sale. I almost did. When I picked up the football game, I did pick up a couple of baseball seasons, I think. Was it baseball? No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I was gonna, if the football was on sale, football seasons, I would have got the football, some seasons, the baseball game, and some baseball seasons, and I would have tried to get the discount. But I ended up just getting the football game because I had 2 football seasons in my cart, but they weren't on sale. And I was like, yeah, they're always on sale. I just didn't want to pay full price for it. So I was like, when they go on sale, I'll get them. But maybe I'll do that because I do want to get the baseball game. Might be fun to do a baseball one too, or a hockey one. Baseball plays a little quicker than a hockey, I think. And a worst of 7 series, yeah, that might be something to do. And news Sports and Magazine was released today by SD Patrick. If you haven't got that notification already, they started posting that. So I need to download that and read that. Maybe that's something I'll do tonight. So what's going on in the hockey game here? We were getting updates here on the hockey game, and okay, so it's still second period. Oh, Oilers doing pretty well here. So Oilers looking to force a game 7. So I think what I'll have to do is go upstairs here when I sign off here, and I'll flick through the new PDF version of the magazine. And while I watch the third period to see if the Oilers can hang on. But yes, thanks for reminding me about that. The North Stars really weren't bad compared to other West expansion teams. Just a few bad seasons. Well, they had a lot of bad seasons in the 70s and the 80s. That was the thing. They had a lot. Now, they went to Seals, and the Kings come up and did well. Vancouver didn't do well for a long time. Jeff says, I love watching sports documentaries on YouTube. I do too. I just watched one on the Buccaneers 0-26, how they turned around from 0-26. They started winning games, and then how they got to the NFC Championship game in 79-80. That was a fun watch. That team just had so many problems. It just was. But they turned it around, and then they had to win the Super Bowl at one point, right? A couple times actually. Action PC looks like so much fun to be his next PC purchase. Yep, it is. Yep. Take care. Thanks for coming by. I'm going to be signing off here in a few minutes. The North Stars are my first expansion team to beat the original 6 team in the playoffs. Or were the first expansion team. They beat Montreal twice in 70-71. Before that, St. Louis lost every game. Yeah, they did. Yep. Yeah, great chat with everybody. I'm going to be signing off here in a minute. I just wanted to jump on real quick, and here we are having another good Saturday night chat. that's what we do, right? That's what the fun thing about this community is. Trust me, I know all about the North Stars. I am from Minnesota and watch them all the time. They once did a promotion with a horse track to grow revenue. Who was it? It was the Scouts that had bands playing at the arena just to bring people in, and people show up, watch the band, and go home. They wouldn't stay for the hockey, something like that, or they would show up after the hockey to watch the band. It was fun. We need to get him on. Icing on the Plains. What was his name that wrote the book? Scott. I think it was Scott. I think it was. I need to get him on the show because it's coming up on the 50th anniversary of the Kansas City Scouts, and so he was going to come on last year and talk about his book and that would be the 50th anniversary of the team joining the league. But this fall would be the team actually playing their first game. So we need to get him on. I forget his name now. It was Scott. Let me call it up right now. Icing on the Plains. Troy. It was Troy Treasure. Troy Treasure. We'll get Troy on the show, and we'll talk Scouts hockey. Yep, we'll get him on here. We'll talk to him about that. And SkyQuest, thanks for coming by. Yeah, we had a good time tonight. Talking a little bit about my frustration with video games. Then we get into some Sega Genesis talk, and then we get into our usual community talk here. So it was a good time. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by tonight. Thanks for keeping me company here on this Saturday night. I'm going to go watch the end of that Edmonton-Vancouver game, and hopefully I can flip through the PDF for the new Sports Sim magazine that just come out. I need to get my my fingers going again. I need to start writing for that magazine again. I had some fun writing for that magazine, so I need to go and get some more things back in there. Just haven't had a chance to yet. I looked up, was like, oh, it's already made. The magazine's coming out. I guess I missed it, so I'll do some writing for that. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming by. That was a fun time tonight. So I need to go figure out what I'm going to do. I need to set up my tournament. I got to find my teams. I got to find my sport. I got to find my game. Should start off with something small and just see how it goes. Maybe like a shootout hockey. Just play a turn. Maybe that's the key. Shootout or Stone Cold. Just play a little tournament and see how it goes. That could be fun. So, all righty. Thank you to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me here on the channel. It makes me feel real good that people like what I do here, and that'll give me some incentive to keep doing it and push me to do some more fun things here on YouTube as well as the Digital Tonight podcast. So again, a big shout out to those guys there. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you all later. Maybe we'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. Bye-bye.